Hi everyone, this is Angie Norris and welcome to or back to my YouTube channel, Angie's Book Adventures. And tonight I'm going to be doing a book review on a historical fiction book that I just finished reading this weekend, and it is entitled The Help. You may have heard of this book. It has been out since 2009, so what would that be? About 16 years. It was a New York Times bestseller, and there was also a major motion picture movie made based on the novel by Kathryn Stockett, The Help by Kathryn Stockett. This book, I had not read it. I had seen clips of the movie. I think I had, been when it, was coming out originally, but I didn't go see it. And I think it's been on TV before. Maybe I was slipping through the channels and, picked it up at the wrong time and my light went out again. There we go. And so I hadn't seen the movie, hadn't read the book. So I decided to read the book first before I saw the movie. And I enjoyed the book so much that today I watched the movie. I found it on Prime. Was it Prime, Hulu, one of those streaming services, and watched it. The book was much, much better, as they always are. This book I have rated a 5-star out of 5. It was a fantastically written. If you have not read this book is set in 1960s. In fact, I believe the very first chapter says, August of 19, and I don't know why my ring light keeps going out. Guys, hang on, I'll come right back. Okay, I've done several videos and I think my ring light is overheating. So we're gonna try to finish this one up. But this is set in fact, the book opens in August of 1962. I was trying to show that to you. August 1962. And the book is told from 3 different characters' point of view. So as you can see, the first one is Abilene. So the author will tell the story from her perspective for 2 or 3, maybe 4, sometimes 5 chapters, and then it'll switch to another character. So there are 2 maids. They are black women who work as the help for white women and their families. And this book is set in 1960s Jackson, Mississippi, where there were terrible race relations things going on at that time, especially in Mississippi. So it is told from 2 of the maids' point of view. Abilene, and Minnie is the other maid. And then the third character's point of view that it is told from is Miss Skeeter. Now, Skeeter is her nickname. Her name is Eugenia. But she is a young 24-year-old woman who has just graduated from college, has come back home. She is living with her parents, who are cotton farmers, and they're fairly wealthy. They're not the most wealthiest people in town, but they're fairly wealthy. And she is a writer, and she goes to work for the local newspaper, but then they only want her to write this house cleaning column once a week. She wants to write something that is of substance, and so she is offended by how some of her friends who she went to school with and who are now married and have children and have black maids, how her friends are talking to these women. And so she strikes up a friendship and convinces initially just one, but then it becomes several of the maids to tell their story about how it is to be a black maid working for a white family in 1960s Jackson, Mississippi. And these stories eventually turn into a book. And so That's not giving too much of it away, but I think the author does a fantastic job of exploring these relationships. And so there are some terrible things that go on, or terrible things that are being said and done between the black help and the white families. But then there are also maids that tell their stories about how they have had such a loving relationship with the families that they work for and the children that they have raised for these families, and what these families have done for them. There are stories that are told where they buy them a home. They just, all sorts of things that you wouldn't really expect. So I think the author did a great job of exploring these relationships. I was born in 1965. My birthday is in April, so I'm getting ready to turn 60. Now, I don't remember, because I was too young, I don't remember a lot of the things that were going on in the world at that time, and my light has gone out again, so we're going to wrap this one up. But in a lot of ways, I grew up in the South. I remember some of this, and so I read it with a lot of interest and retrospect and looking back on how far our country has come since the 1960s. So if you have not read this book, The Help by Kathryn Stockett, it will be in my Pango store for sale. Actually, I have 2 copies of it. I bought a copy from a whatnot seller. In fact, this is the one that I bought. And then I found a copy in the thrift store, so I bought a second copy. So I actually have 2 copies, and now that I've read it, I'm gonna list them in my Pango store. They will be for sale, and I'll drop the link below if you're interested in buying it. All right, guys, I appreciate you stopping by for my book reviews. This one, if I didn't say it earlier, because my light's going on and off, is kind of throwing me off in this video, but this one was a 5-star, and I highly recommend that you read it. Have a good night.